Hello, and welcome to AI Week's session from the Coders Guild about AI for SMEs, where in particular to spend your time. So this figure, 94 billion, that's a big number. This was a study earlier this year that showed that 94 billion is the amount that would be added to the UK economy if SMEs on average got 1% more efficient year on year. Now, 1% is not a lot. A bit of admin off someone's plate, one fewer bottleneck, one smarter way of doing something. And here's the thing, AI and automation don't give us 1%. They can give us 10, 20, 30% increases in efficiency. And for the first time, the tools that are sitting right in front of us are here, and they're ours, and they're cheap or even free. You don't need a huge tech team. You don't need a big strategy. You don't need an army of consultants. You just need to get started and do what you already do and just ask yourself, could this be easier? And that's what this session is about. And so what are we doing here? This is not going to be a showcase of shiny tools. I'm not here to pitch you an AI strategy. I'm not here to sell you consultancy. I'm going to talk you through some real examples, stuff that has worked for us and our teams and in other small businesses like yours. We'll look at how to use AI in ways that are simple and easy to learn, but give you back time, cut down stress, and help you do better work. I'm going to share with you the steps towards not a finished product. And I've in versions of this that I've done previously in in live settings where we've done some demos and we've done some live interaction stuff. That bit is not possible in the time and the setting that we have today. But if you would like to follow me or the Coders Guild, we're always sharing these sorts of things, and we've got a series of follow along demos coming up in the near future. So here's a little bit about us, about the Coders Guild. We are a technical training firm. We have a motto: industry-led, community-driven. And what that means is everything that we do is led by people actually working in the industry. People that develop and deliver and review the training are all people that do those things for a job. We work across two key areas. One is the more technical things, which we are mainly known for. So this is things like software engineering and development, software testing, UX, product, data, security, that sort of thing. And the second is what I'd call operational uplift. So the idea for this is helping other SMEs, tech adjacent or non-technical SMEs, bringing in this good stuff from tech culture. So that very much includes AI and automation, but it's also all sorts of embracing of digital tools and practical workflows, the sorts of things that make tech businesses work well. It's how we make how tech startups often have really high performing teams. And these are the sorts of things that we'd like to bring to the wider SME community. Most of our work's government funded. We use apprenticeship, skills boot camps, leveling up funding. We're currently working with, or I've just finished my work so far with the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education, which has now become Skills England, on defining a new qualification in AI and automation as a level 4 apprenticeship. And I will come back to that later on at the end of the session, give you a bit more information about that. And so to introduce myself, I'm Crispin. I am the CEO of the Coders Guild. Before I did this for a job, I spent about 20 years working across software development and digital strategy. Accessibility and user experience were kind of my specialties. Led all sorts of technical teams and projects, but it was a side project that kind of shifted my path. What the Coders Guild became actually started out as a volunteer effort about trying to understand what the key skills that the tech teams needed and how to train people with those skills. That really kind of led us on the path of being really focused on the apprenticeships, in particular for the workplace based learning and learning skills and peer learning of those skills and knowledge, and how powerful that is as a learning experience, but also how beneficial it is not just for the person, the apprentice doing the learning, but everyone around them, and how we make peer learning kind of part of our culture. I also sit on the FSB's, the Federation of Small Businesses Tech Committee. I personally am kind of obsessed with SMEs, not just as the economic drivers, as I was mentioning at the beginning of the session, but also as engines of social change. The work that we do really, really matters, not just to financially to the economy, but as SMEs, we are absolutely key in cultivating and maintaining our local talent pipelines and elevating social mobility in our local areas. So here's how this session is going to run. I'm going to talk briefly about why it's a good moment for SMEs to take this stuff seriously, and I want to walk through 3 kind of real world examples of how AI can be used today. And I'm trying to make this as easy to remember and follow as possible. But like I said, we will, if you drop us a comment in the on the LinkedIn event, or you send us a message, we'll be able to follow up with like resource packs and reviews of the demos that we're going to do, but in a slightly longer format. Not that I'm going to rush through what I'm doing today, but I will be going at pace due to the time constraints that we have. So you should leave this with some takeaways, some things that you can immediately do. And then last of all, I will also be telling you about the new apprenticeship and how to access that funding should you wish to. So overwhelm for SMEs is hugely prevalent. I mean, this is this slide is actually kind of a précis of all of the research that came out of the Goldman Sachs 10K survey, and it's what I see every day working with SMEs. Overwhelm is the biggest blocker. It's not a lack of ideas. It's not a lack of tools. It's not lack of people. It's just too much going on and too few people to handle it. And so there is a skills gap. We should be talking about the skills gap. For us, and talking about AI in particular, you might not have anyone in-house who feels confident enough with this stuff. And then finally, time. No one has got the time to do to explore AI. If it feels like, or it sounds like, a side project, not a business priority. But here is the thing: if we use it right, AI can actually help solve lots of these things. It gives us time back, and the return on the investment that we can get from just spending a little bit of time understanding how to use AI a bit better puts us onto that path, cuts the noise. So just before we jump into the examples, I thought I'd give you a bit of a snapshot of where we are at right now. So AI adoption in SMEs across Europe has shot up in the past 18 months. That's about 31%. And growing, like month on month, this is growing. In the UK, 55% of SME leaders reckon AI could add value, but 46% say they don't have the skills or know how to do anything with it. And also there was this, the Microsoft survey, 79% of SME leaders want to learn more. So anyone in the audience, you're not alone. So I feel like we're at a point now where, for the most part, a lot of people, a majority of people, will have had some access to one or more LLMs. A little dalliance with ChatGPT or Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek, Copilot. But let's have a look at what people are saying they're using them for. We've got searching for information, so swapping out Google and using ChatGPT instead. So not using a search engine and looking at results, but talking with an LLM to find information. Short form content creation. This is everybody's go-to, I think, for ChatGPT. LinkedIn particularly very thrilled and excited to be writing all of our content updates. Just having a play is often what people will do, just idly use it for other than search. Recommendations is a good in, comparing restaurants or getting advice for things to do, products to buy, works very, very well for that. Academic stuff, doing research, and the last one, writing code. In this session, we're not going to look at any code writing tools or any vibe coding. We do have a course on vibe coding if you're interested in that, but this is not what we're about today. That is a bit more involved, but the way that we are going to talk about AI over the next use cases is the same way as we teach using AI to write code. We're talking about human in the loop. This is where you get the value, is by understanding the problems that you're trying to solve. If you are just without any knowledge of code and digital products and how they should work or how they should be built, you're just having a chat to an AI to build you an app, the results are not going to be good. But with a bit of understanding around those things and how large language models and AI works, you can get much, much better results. So the good news is, in particular for this session, you don't need to know how to code. You just need to know about your business. Now, this is kind of our mantra: people, process, tools. So this is the way that when we are looking for something to make more efficient, this is the order that we go in. So this is kind of developed from it was like I think it was an idea in the 70s or 80s that you have a triangle of people, process, and tools, and in the middle is like efficiency and progression. But we generally think about it much more linear like this. So first off, who are the people involved? What is the process that they are doing, and how do we make it better for those people? How do we make it more efficient? How do we remove blockers or bottlenecks? And then finally, what are the tools that help us? And this seems like a really simple thing. It may even seem kind of obvious, but it is so easy, particularly when we're talking about AI products. It's so easy to have shiny object syndrome, where you know that there's some problems with your team or with your business or with an area of the business, and the shiny object is some new AI application. And then what we do as humans is we've seen a solution, and we're very solution focused as animals. We want that solution to work. So then we kind of retrofit that solution to our problem. And often people will buy or subscribe to something that they think is going to solve their problem because they've imagined it. It's like a heuristic. It's a quick fix. We'll just buy this thing. We'll just subscribe to this product, and that will solve our problem. But the thing is that without understanding the people who need the problem solved, or the process, or what the problem actually is, you can't make a good decision about the tools. So bear that in mind as we go through these examples. Now, the first use case that I want to talk about is doing the setup, taking the time to understand the tool. The example that I'm going to use in the next slide is ChatGPT, but exactly the same goes for DeepSeek, Copilot, Claude, Gemini, whatever you're using. You need to explore the interface, look at the tutorials, look at the help files, and do some setup. So apologies, this is I've just noticed this is an older slide that we haven't got the latest version of ChatGPT up there. And I do have actually, if you look in our LinkedIn previous post, you'll see that there's a full half-an-hour session which is basically just on this slide, but I'm going to do a summary version for you now. Looking at the interface of ChatGPT, we have the models. In general, don't worry about the models, just use the latest one. There are differences to the models, like in terms of like how fast they respond, and particularly what they're good at. So if you were doing a lot of lower level tasks, you would probably choose a previous model to get that fast and get that more efficient. But for the cases that I'm talking about today, this is just use the latest. That's your advice. Don't worry about the others. Projects are ways of grouping particular things. So you could have a project, for example, for a client with client documents. Obviously, nothing that you don't want the large language model to read. So nothing obviously private or confidential. But for example, particulars about a particular project or a particular client or a group. We have the examples here on the interface. You can see them down here just above my head with marketing. So everything to do with marketing. In one of my the groups that I have at the moment is all of the images that I want. So I have a project that is the image creation. So it knows about our branding guidelines. It knows about what images have worked well in the past. It knows that we use 16:9 as for slides, and all of these sorts of bits. So you're collecting the groups of information, so we can just start a new chat, and all of that stuff is already understood. We don't have to start again. We don't have to re-input all of that data. You could also have, there's an example here that you can't quite see because my head's in the way, but a standard operating procedure. So a group of what are your SOP documents. You could have a project for that. So when you start a project, you can add files to it that basically become not the memory, but your large language model can refer back to those in every chat that's in that project. The other thing that I would like to look at here is how to personalize. So you see up here in the top section, we have under the menu that is my face, my user menu, then there's a chance to personalize things. And this is super important and super easy to do as well. So when you personalize it, you're giving a set of instructions that the large language model is going to effectively, we can think about this as it will read that and incorporate that into the instructions that you're giving it. So you're setting the parameters for the things that you always want to happen. So it could be, if it is for you, you can talk about yourself. You could, if it's a company wide, you might be talking about your company. You can set how you want the largest language model to respond to you, if you want it to be more formal or more jolly or all those things. And the customization is really, really key to how good the results are going to be for you. Now, the next couple of use cases will go into even more customization, but for the first step is to set the customization of your own LLM, so it starts to respond much more like the way that you would like it to. And a shortcut, if you like, to filling this in is you can just ask the LLM to ask you the questions that help it to suggest the answers for you. So you basically get the AI to interview you about what should be in these text boxes, and then you can pop it in. And then if it doesn't work out, you can paste these back into the large language model if you're not happy. And then you could say, these are my custom instructions. I want to make them better. Can you ask me some questions that would help to make us better? And then it's going to interview you and you're going to get a better result. So this setting up of the customization, putting in the projects and the customizing the large language model to respond how you want it to, and to know certain specific things. You can also add files to this as well. Just before I go on to the next use case, I did want to talk about this amazing resource, Gen AI Secret Sauce. And what this is a collection of quite long prompts that you can drop in. So you can search this site for things like, oh, I'm trying to write a pitch deck for our company, or I'm doing a project report. So and it will help you through this interview technique to get your AI, your large language model, to behave much more in a much more productive way, one that is more quickly useful to you. You don't need to write it down. I'll put the link in the comments afterwards, or you can just message me and I'll send you some stuff. So use case 2. So this is about creating your own GPT. So if you have looked at ChatGPT, the interface, there is a section where you can see the custom GPT. So this is things that people have built or companies have built on top of ChatGPT. So they act in a certain way on top of the main AI. Now you can create your own versions of this, and it is dead easy to do. You just go to you could just ask the LLM. I won't show you the screenshot. You can ask ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, whichever you're using, of how to create these custom models. You can't do this in the free account. This is a pay for feature. But in terms of say even in this particular use case, if you think that this is useful, you can imagine how you could replicate this to lots of other use cases and create lots of different GPTs. We have about 6 company-wide ones that we use in ChatGPT, and this is one of them, a process helper. So how this is set up is we go to create a custom GPT, and in the same way as we would be asking to set up the custom instructions for the large language model as a whole, we're going to do like an interview technique to fill in this form for us. So what are the instructions, the description, and you can do this directly. So when you go to create a custom GPT, you can just do that straight away. You don't have to do it in another in the main interface and then transfer stuff here. You can just talk about what it is that you're trying to create. You can add additional files that maybe you wanted example text or something like that. So you can add files. You can have this interview to use the interview technique to get the instructions the way that you want it. And another key thing that I would like to share with you is creating templates. So the use case that we have here is a GPT that helps with standard operating procedure and can create process documents for us. All right, let me just jump back one. So this template, I'm going to see if I can just pull this template up somehow. Hopefully, yes. Now we're looking at the template document. So this template document, you can see what I've done here is this is our process document template. Now, specifically what I've done in this template is I've put in little prompts for each of these sections about what I would like to see here. So putting out the steps, who is it for? When do we use it? So now if I pop back to my slides, just to check, yeah. So now so when we're creating a new process document, I can type out what I want and then say I want it in this format. Now, I would put the template document into the knowledge base for the GPT. So every time we start a conversation with this GPT, it knows that template exists. One of the things that I found works really well is to have that template to hand or to embed into the chat just for absolute clarity. So it brings it to the forefront of the parameters that the GPT is operating in. So what I mean by that, you can think about it as it's reminding it that this is exactly how you want it. So it knows it. It has that reference in the knowledge base of that template format. But if you were to just put in notes about a process or do a voice note talking through a process and then say, I want this voice note returned to me in this format, it's going to give you the title. It's going to say, who is this for? It's going to say, it will fill in all of the procedural steps. And when you read it back, then you could do another voice note as like, oh, that draft isn't quite correct. What I meant in the who is it for? It's actually for just the sales team, or it's for operations and delivery, not just operations. So you can correct the things in the draft and then get a better result. And I think that's something that I want to dwell on, just to repeat, is that what we're looking for is this drafting process. If you imagine that your Gen AI companion here is like an intern, like a super eager intern. They're not going to get everything correct. They don't know anything unless you give them those parameters and give them that information. But if you are very prescriptive, if you are very exact about the format that you want and the exact things that you want, if you are communicating really well, you get great results. So just to run that step by step, you create a template doc. To create your custom GPT, you go to GPTs, My GPTs, create, and then you follow the instructions. It will lead you through the creation, and there's your GPT. We have a what we have started doing in our team is giving them names. So we have different names for the different GPTs. So they're not like the SOP helper. They have an actual human name, and then we get them to give themselves a their own profile picture as well. Now here is an extension of that use case that we use a lot. Loom has a freemium tier. You can pay for it, but what it is screen recording software, has bits of AI in it, has good transcription, and here's what you can do with Loom. You could just record yourself doing a process, and even if you don't want the actual video file, we find that the video file is really useful. In our process documents, what we will have is the full process document with the video file embed. But what we can get is, as a super quick win for a process, is record yourself doing the process and talking about it. Then you just grab the transcript, pop the transcript into your standard operating procedure helper, attach the template, tell it that's the format that you want it back in, and then it will put all of the process, the process steps into order, and tidy up your voice note into coherent and grammatically correct plain English. And there you have it. So quick to get process documents all together with video and with text. I think you can get this down to 10 minutes for the whole thing. If you're recording a 5-minute video and creating a document, that 10 minutes you've got another process document. And we have a whole library of these now, which are amazing for like onboarding and reference, and also like our own standardization and continuous improvement. Okay, last use case is a copywriter. So I think this is quite a common one for generative AI, but in particular, we don't want AI slop. Like no one's brand ID says we write like AI slop. We use the same language, same tired language all the time. So you can build something like this. I wouldn't say that it's going to replace a human copywriter, but if you've got good brand identity and if you've got examples of what you would like, that of the sort of writing that you would like, then you can build something that is going to give you much better results than just asking ChatGPT with no customization to give you to write you a post or write you a blog post about something or this sort of thing. So let's talk about the documents that you would need to go into that knowledge base. You'd want a tone of voice document. You'd want a business overview. How does your business make money? What are your goals? You're going to want targeting, segmentation, ideal customer profile. You're going to want customer value proposition, product differentiators, and a general style guide. So to get those 5 documents together, what do you reckon? Obviously the answer is we'd get the LLM to interview us. We're going to get ChatGPT to ask us questions. I'm looking to create a tone of voice document for my business. Ask me some questions, make no assumptions, so that we can get that document together. You get a draft back. You say what you think about that draft. No, I don't think that we're that informal. I think we would be more. Give me an example. And once you get like that backwards and forwards, you're going to get these 5 documents pretty quick. So here's some examples. Again, we'll share them afterwards. No need to write them down. But once you've got those documents, they can all be uploaded into that GPT, and now you've got a baseline copywriter for your business. I'm going to have 1 minute because I'm just conscious of time. 1 minute talking about what's coming, what would be next once you've got a handle on these basic time savers. And all of those use cases are ones that you can use again and again and adapt slightly for different things. But agentic AI is where we're heading, what lots of people are up to now. So the agentic AI is giving more autonomy, I guess, to the AI in terms of like decision making and what to do with stuff. So rather than being your assistant that's reliant on you giving input and you giving feedback, this could, the agentic solutions are kind of autonomous in that we are giving them lots of parameters, but then we're giving them extra things to make decisions about. So this agent, for example, a chat message is coming in and it's deciding where to send that chat message, what responses to give it. Does it send it off to a human? Does it send an email? We can put those things down to to programmatic solutions. Once we know a bit more about how AIs work, and of course keeping that human in the loop, what we're looking for is where does it save us time? Where does it make us more efficient? And this slide is maybe just like, this is about your effective strategies. What do you want to do? You've got to be testing the stuff that you're doing. Don't give yourself a massive project straight off. Start small. Automate some repetitive tasks, or build a GPT that does something specific. Always be thinking about data security, and don't focus on the tools. Focus on the job, the problem that you're trying to solve. Almost my final slide now, but all of these sorts of things are what has gone into the work that we've been doing for the past year on creating the new AI and automation apprenticeship standard. So we've been working with the DFE and with Skills England on an apprenticeship that does all of the sorts of things that we're talking about today. It's about looking for opportunities for automation in your business, looking for opportunities to use AI to make you more efficient, more productive, more profitable. And I think the most exciting thing for me about this is like all of the research, and the vast majority of all of the interviews that we did were with SMEs, because it was really important for us that this new apprenticeship really worked for SMEs, so we can drive towards that 94 billion pounds into the economy by making us just a little bit more efficient. Do get in touch if you're interested in joining the group. The first group should be out early next year. So if you would like to hire or upskill anyone in these things into your business, do give us a shout. My last takeaways, just before we get to the end, start with use cases, not tools. Be mindful if you do see a great tool, good, but beware of the shiny object syndrome. Communication is your real skill. You know, like if you are able to tell an AI exactly what you want, you will get better results. So the more effort you put into understanding what you want and communicating that, the better results that you will get. And the real power of AI, especially for SMEs, is not replacing people at all. It's empowering them to do more and to be more efficient. And yeah, one more time, people first, then process, then tools. Thanks very much. If we have any questions, I can see if there's any coming in the chat. I can't actually see LinkedIn from where I am. So if you have given us some, if there are questions on LinkedIn, I will follow up with them after the session. Thanks very much.